Okay, welcome to part 2, Sydney to Halifax, the return. Sounds like a movie, doesn't it? So just to recount yesterday, we began the journey in Sydney, had about 93% battery when we left. The goal yesterday was to investigate a number of the charging points along the way to Halifax. We went to 6 or 7 of them. We charged a little bit at 2, just in order to see what kind of speeds we got and get an experience in some of the faster chargers, and make our way through the rain. We had some torrential rain, just to sort of try some of these out, see what the whole journey looked like, and see what we had left, basically battery-wise, get a bit of a feel for it. It's one of the things that people ask when you tell them that you bought an EV. Oh my gosh, how are you going to get to Halifax? So the fear is out there. It really is a fear, and there's a lot of questions. After yesterday's journey, I'm assuaged. Like, that's not really a big scary monster for me anymore. So today we're headed back. It's about 4:14. Got the students off the conference, and today's goal is a little bit different. We've been over the road. I've seen some of the stations. Yesterday we arrived with something like, I forget, 80-some%, and presently, basically, I drove around Halifax, visited my daughter. We had lunch together, did a little bit of shopping, and we're starting this journey here right now with, let's see, what do I got here? 62%. So got here without too much trouble, had lots of electrons sitting in the batteries, and here we are ready to leave at 62%. The goal now, the plan, and this is the I don't know part, we're going to find out. We're going to go to Stewiacke this time. We went to Enfield yesterday coming in, and we like the Stewiacke charger. They look really kind of super cool and keen, and they're also 200 watts. We had a really great experience at the 180 watt charger in, I think it was Enfield. We're going to try the 200 watt charger in Stewiacke because we haven't had anything to eat yet. We'll get there and we'll have something to eat. So we'll plug in, we'll charge, we'll get something to eat. Lots of choice there. There had to be 10 restaurants. It looked like a great spot. I don't think I've normally stopped there in a car. In trips, you get into routines and you get into habits, and I had my own set of habits for, the occasional trip to Halifax. Those habits don't serve me as much in an electric vehicle because I am interested in charge points. Or maybe I'm not. The trip yesterday worked pretty well. We did charge twice, but it was only because we were kind of curious. We would have arrived in Enfield at the chargers there one way or the other, especially considering we made a little bit of a misturn there and went 10 kilometers out of our way. So this route is going to start us with, I guess, an efficiency. What I'd like to see is if we charge at 100% at Stewiacke, and we're sitting at 62 now, so it's really not going to take that long at a fast charger to fill us up. We had our hamburgers yesterday and came out and we gained like 50% or something like that. It was an insane amount of charge in a very short period of time. This charger should be faster, so we'll go in, we'll plug in, we'll go to 100%. Normally we don't go to 100% just in around town, but in trips, because you're going to be draining down that battery and not leaving the charge in the battery, it's not as much of a concern. So for the longevity of the battery, these intermittent 100% charges really don't affect the battery a lot in the long term. It's leaving a battery charged with a high yield in it over a long period that sort of degrades the battery. So, and even at that, some of the reports I've seen for vehicles that have been abused still retain 80% of their original life. So I see that as a kind of win. If you compare it against a gas vehicle, gas vehicles break down, their mileage gets worse. There's people that have older cars with engines that ask themselves the question, is my car in a condition to make that long trip? This is a bit of a different powertrain. The longevity of the powertrain seems to be something that has been established in the last dozen or so years of EV use. So we're going to begin this. We're going to go to Stewiacke. We're going to check in again, and we're going to start our charge, have a bite to eat, and then start the clock counting down to, actually, Waterford. We're going to Waterford because we have to drop off George. So normally I would go to Myra Road, but we're going to take a little bit of an extra trip here and see if we can get there on the one charge that we get from Stewiacke. Okay, we arrived at the Petro-Canada fast charger, and color me disappointed. It just doesn't seem to work. I was told online that the charge app, one of the charge apps I had, would work here to pay for it. I get here, I don't see it on the charge app. The instructions on the machine say the card reader to pay is not worked, like through the swipe card reader, so that's not working. And you have to download the Petro-Canada EV app, and I can't find the Petro-Canada EV app. I found a Petro-Canada points card app, but I don't think that's the same thing. Anyway, that's fine. I think we're just going to go to Truro. Maybe what we'll do is go to the fast charger there. We're at 44% now. Lots of range to get to Truro. We'll go to Truro and we'll charge at that charger, and then make our way to Cape Breton from there. So what time are we now? 5:13. We probably wasted 10 minutes here. We left a little after 4 or so. So we'll head off to Truro and see if that works out any better. So we made it to Truro. We have a 30, I guess we pulled in with about 38% battery in Truro. Plugged into the Nova Scotia Power Millbrook charger, whipped out my Charge Lab app, plugged in the car. Pretty straightforward. Still getting used to the whole running the app thing, but I think a couple more times and I'll have it down. But it didn't take too long. Presently charging at 115 kilowatts, so we're getting pretty good. We're getting pretty good rate. Charge is rated at 180. We're going to charge up to 100% on this because I'd like to get. We're going to get back home. At this point, we're in Truro, so I don't really expect to have any issue with range. We do have to eat. It is 5:31. There's a A&W over there, and there's a habaneros. Did you guys ever have habaneros? No. Do you feel like Mexican food?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why don't we do that? We'll go get some Mexican food. And we're going to check back. Presently 5:31, charging at 111 kilowatts an hour, so that's a good rate. We'll see how fast it goes. We'll probably be in there 30 minutes and hit back on the road. And we'll give you a countdown. I'll hit a destination on the map, and it'll tell me on my app or in my car what percentage battery I will have left. It's guesstimate. When I hit Sydney, or in this case probably New Waterford. We'll put New Waterford in as the destination because we have to drop off my friend here, and yeah, we'll see how that works out. The goal really, ultimately, if you're doing these trips, you don't always have to or even want to charge to 100%. My goal would be to hit my doorstep with 10% left. Right now I'm charging with expensive electrons. So the road trips on fast chargers, it is going to cost you more. That's just the way it works. It's still less expensive than gas, maybe about half as expensive as gas. But what I want to do is get back to my own home and my own mini charger. I have the mini charger, I don't have the full charger. But at home I'm charging at 17 cents a kilowatt. Here I'm charging at 50. But it is convenient on the road. The time to get charged will be reasonable in this case because based on what we did last night, we should get a full charge in pretty quick. It does take a little longer to get to 100% because as the battery fills up, its capacity to take electrons shuts down a little bit, and it's sort of like a theater. When like 3/4 of the seats are taken, it's harder to find another seat, so the electrons coming into the battery, it takes longer individually for them to find another place to store themselves effectively. So we're gonna go have some habaneros, and we'll meet you back half an hour-ish, and we'll see where we are. Okay, here we are, back in the car. We went over to Habaneros, which is right next door to the charging station. And service was a little slow, well, really slow, but the food was awesome. The guys are still over there. They're still eating, or one guy's still eating. And I thought I'd pop back over here and see where our progress was. So we started charging at about 113 kilowatts. And when I came back over, we were at 94%, and it was charging at 28 kilowatts. Now that's actually to be expected. It takes longer to charge above 80%. So what happens is as the battery regulates its temperature, so it wants to be up at a certain temperature when it starts charging, or to charge most efficiently, and as it charges, the battery gets hot, so it's got a cooling system that actually cools the battery down. One of the things it does in order to cool the battery down in a rapid charge is to slow the charge rate. So the charger and the car are communicating, saying, okay, my temperature is this, we should slow down, which is why they say it's most efficient to charge up to 80%. Now, I wanted to jam as many electrons in there as I could. I think I probably could make home at 80%. I'll find out in a few minutes when I run my app and have a look at my estimated distances. But we're at 94%, so we're going to cruise home with lots to spare. I really don't want to have a lot of extra electrons sitting in my battery when I get home, because my cheap energy is home, and on the road it's more expensive. So all the way down, basically yesterday, we were burning cheap electrons, and all the way back here we're going to be burning more expensive electrons, because we're going through the fast charger to get topped up to get home. And that's just part of the life. So the balance of it, you're still saving a fair bit of money over petroleum, but nowhere near as inexpensive as charging at home. Charging at home is the way to do it. So if I could ideally, well, I don't know where I'll be when I get home, but like I said, if I could get home at 10% or 8% or something like that, and then plug in, let it charge overnight, grab another 15% charge overnight at my mini charger, excuse me, it'd be ideal. So I'm going to check my app. I'm going to come back in a minute, and I'm going to let you know where we are distance-wise. The app has, when you run the app for the car, it shows you the range you can get to, and based on where you go, how much is expected to go to be left. And in fact, actually, if I do this here, if I can go to home, so it's telling me here, I don't have to go to the app, it's actually in the car. This is all brand new to me. So home is 3 hours and 18 minutes away. And when I get home, 42 Patnick Avenue.
Head south toward Treaty Trail.
Exactly. I'll have 23% left. Now I'm actually going to New Waterford first, so I'll have less than that. But I'll get home with 10%, 15%, something like that. Anyway, I'm going to go over pick up the guys. It was a big meal. The food was awesome. They're still eating. Service was slow. It's 6:27 right now. We went in at 5:35 or 5:40 maybe. They got backed up, and anyway, that's the way it rolls. I'm stuffed. I'm gonna probably have to grab a coffee somewhere along the way, and maybe a stop in I don't know, Antigonish or the Causeway. The Causeway probably would be the best place to stop, just to pop into the petrol can there and get a coffee. So we're doing all right. This is a long stop, it's not the car's fault, just a long food stop. So anyway, we'll check in with you again when we get to the coffee stop in Olds Cove, and we'll check in and see what we got battery remaining. These are estimates that I have here now, so this is all real life. As we're learning, you're learning with me, and hopefully we'll see this trip to the end with no more stops. And here we are back in Sydney. Uneventful drive, currently 9:57. So we left Truro at 6:35, I think it was. So 3.5 hours Truro to here. We did make a quick stop to get coffee, and probably 10 minutes or so there. But in fact, we're here now, sitting, dropped off 2 of the students. We're sitting with 20% left in the battery capacity. and left with, what was it? It was 93% or something like that. So quick ride, and everything seems to have worked out pretty well. Looks like we're getting used to the vehicle and the transportation over a long period of time. So doesn't seem to be as big a deal as a lot of people have suggested. It is the big fear, can you make it to Halifax? But the story's not done yet. So we're sitting here in the middle of Sydney, and I'm not going home just yet. We're going to New Waterford to drop off the last student, George, here. So we have to head out to, where do we have to go?
3237 Hinchy Avenue.
Hinchy Avenue,
Exactly.
in New Waterford, with 20% left, and then I got to go home to Mile Road. So we're going to roll the dice on this one. Let's see if we can do it. I think we can. But in any case, we'll wrap it up with one more stop and then take it on home from there. So we just dropped off George. We're sitting at 15% battery life, and should only take us about 5% or so to get home. Been a successful trip. Learned a lot. It was a good experience. I don't want to say I was expecting it to be more difficult, or I guess making a big deal of the stopping that we did do, because I am accustomed to stopping anyway. You stop for a coffee, you stop for dinner. Like very rarely have I ever driven straight through without even making 2 stops. So the whole trip was relatively the same as it would be in a gas-powered vehicle. In fact, when we stopped coming back, the slow part was the meal. It was just like driving a gas-powered vehicle, really. We are down to 15%, but that's kind of ideal. You do want to be feasting on homegrown electrons, like you'd find coming out of your wall socket, because those are the cheapest ones. So we're going to be successful at doing that. I'll calculate the cost of this trip and I'll append it at the end, and we'll have an idea. Going up, it was on 17.5-cent homegrown electrons, and coming back it was on 50-cent fast charge electrons coming back. So the total of which is what we'll figure out. We were going up in the rain, so that probably affected our mileage. We were coming back, we were making pretty good time, and that may affect the speed you come in, may affect your mileage, or will affect your mileage as well. So that's something to consider. The other thing I'm just sort of figuring out here now is that when you talk about, say, going to Halifax, there's a difference between going to Halifax if you're starting in Sydney River, and a difference between going to Halifax if you're starting in New Waterford. Not a large difference, but it is there. When I began yesterday, I had pre-charged, and I was at 100% when I left the university. But then I had to drive into town, I had to pick 2 people up, I had to go over to the other side of the harbor, I had to pick up an air mattress. So by the time we actually got onto the highway, we were sitting at, I think it was 94%. You guys have watched this video, so whatever I said at the beginning, that's what it was. So that would probably be the mark to measure that from. The other thing, and this is just my own observation, I don't quite know if this is the case, but the charge duration, or the amount of time it's spent over 90%, seemed to be relatively short. It takes much longer to charge above 80%, and it might be that maybe it burns through or goes through that over 80% charge more quickly. It seemed to drop kind of quickly from 93-4%, whatever that was when we charged in Truro. I'm going to do some research on that and find that out. But overall, it's been a good trip. Glad to have you join us. I hope this helps people. If you've been wondering how the whole EV thing works, if you're curious about it, feel free to drop a comment down below. Kind of funny to be able to say that. I watch so many podcasts and everyone says, follow me and drop a comment below. Subscribe to my channel. So I can ask you to do that as well. Going to be continuing the channel with other trips around the island, and I think it'll be hopeful for people in different areas. I'll be reviewing some other chargers around the island and getting a sense of them, because they're not all built the same. This trip, the issue we had with the Petrocan charger in Stewiacke, that was a disappointment. That one should have been the fast one, but whatever happened, it looked like they disabled their stripe, their readers, their card readers, so you couldn't pay with debit or credit card. The instructions I had were that I think you're supposed to use the app Charge Hub. Charge Hub didn't seem to recognize it, and the instructions on the screen said that you should download the Petrocan EV app. Looked online, I saw a Petrocan Points app, but I downloaded it, but it didn't look like it had any EV charging capacity. And I also really couldn't get into it because I have a Petro Points card, and because I had that, I wasn't able to make another card or use another card, and then I didn't have the password for it, so it all turned into a bit of a disappointment, and we wasted a few minutes in that interaction. So with that, I'll sign off. Thank you for joining us, and like I said, subscribe, like, tell your friends, and if you have any EV related questions, leave them in the comments down below.